You're not supposed to be buried 6 feet deep. You never lived in London. You never was a part of the bubonic plague. So why are you still following the laws that they passed amongst themselves as Europeans in order to try to combat the bubonic plague? So everybody in America, if you got blew the fuck up in Iraq and you come back over here and you buried 6 feet deep, what the fuck is you doing still following the laws that's been passed down from the bubonic plague? You're supposed to be cremated. You know why you get cremated? So that they put your ashes in a canopic jar. But today we don't use canopic jars. We use what is called urns. And a piece of your spiritual essence will always be with your family. Period. So with that being said, family, graveyards. Even when we're talking about graveyards, right? Graveyards is like prisons for the dead. So think about how many people died but can't transfer on because they still attached to their body that's buried in the motherfucking dirt. Because you didn't do a simple ass task as to cremate the goddamn body. So you got niggas in prison, right? Locked the fuck up, can't do what they want to do. And then they die and they go to an energetic prison called a graveyard. So that being said, family, understand why certain burial practices and certain sacred practices are done. Nobody does. Our ancestors, our African ancestors' intelligence was too exceeding for you to think they just did shit because it was cute. Everything was done intricately and precisely calculated by the mind and intelligence of their physical and metaphysical knowledge upon themselves in regards to their natural interfacing with the universe. So with that being said, family, break away from the slave mentality and stop letting the motherfucker not only disrespect you while you alive, but motherfuckers disrespecting you while you dead. You're not even getting buried right. Your body's not even getting taken care of right. And not only are you being disrespected, our ancestors who took the precautions have been being and are still today being dug up and disrespected. And all of the effort that they put forth to help us, we've become so non-associated with our genetic lineage with them, we don't even see ourselves as them, so we don't even give a fuck to try to help stop the carnage that's going on to them. So imagine if you just go to motherfucking Washington and start digging up all the motherfuckers that died in 9/11. White people in the government will be all over your ass. But yet they can go to Africa, they can go to North America, South America, China, and dig up all of these motherfucking sacred African burial grounds, which are nothing more than energetic gateways and pillars for our ancestors to communicate and interact with us. And they can totally decimate and desecrate the goddamn sites. And you don't give a fuck because your dumb ass watching Love and Hip Hop. That's all you give a fuck about. So with that being said, family, understand there's an awareness that never goes away. But it never comes to you if you're not aware of it as well. So it's like looking for your cell phone when it's in your pocket. You'll waste your goddamn existence looking for something that you already have. The sacred science of ourselves is already inside of us, but it's for you to unlock it. So with that being said, family, amplify yourself, but more importantly, understand yourself. Because once you understand who you are, you'll understand why it is that you must do what you need to do.
Child of God, since we're doing riddles on P. Diddy, let's go ahead and do this riddle. Riddle me how Kim Porter was buried in 9 days in a Promethean casket that takes 14 days to make. And before you all want to tussle with me on this and say that this is a conspiracy, I want you to go look up the only place that makes Promethean caskets. It's called the Batesville Casket Company, and they are made to order, baby. It takes 2 weeks, approximately 14 days to make, and then they'll go ahead and ship it out to you in either 1 or more days, which explains why George Floyd, who was buried in a Promethean casket, took 15 days. Aretha Franklin, who was buried in a Promethean casket, took 15 days. Michael Jackson was buried in a Promethean casket. It took 70 days. And James Brown was buried in a Promethean casket. It took 75 days. Are you ready to listen now? His ass need to be under the jail. Been under the jail. See who ordered the casket, amen?
I have been screaming underwater since I was 3 months old. I went into foster care at 13, 14. We tried to do a case against Riverside County Child Protective Services because Riverside County, do you hear me? Riverside County Child Protective Services was involved in my trafficking. I never thought that we would see the day where Diddy would get arrested. And I told you guys in that Maria Z interview in 2021 that no one tells on Diddy. P. Diddy. All right? Just the same way nobody tells on Denzel Washington. We tried to back up. We've tried to tell you everything that we can. And now we have people messaging us, investigators, people that want to talk now, when now it's because it's trending. We're still not on the subject of the kids. All the adults are covering their asses. All the adults are, I left at a certain time, yet you knew children were there. You knew these parties were not okay. They weren't freak-offs. They were satanic ritual orgies. And one of those children were me.
Bullshit.
You see all the people running? They're ducking and hiding because everybody knows that there was children there. But we're still not talking about the kids yet. When are we going to talk about the kids? Everybody's demanding something from the victims. Why aren't you demanding it from the news? You know he's about to turn into another Epstein, and then the list follows and it circles back into a web. So why isn't anybody demanding any information on the kids? Do you think that thousands of bottles worth of baby oil was for thousands of who? $65,000 worth of hot dogs and pizza was for who? Trafficking over the border was for who? Child Protective Services is your supplier. Is anybody going to talk about that? Everybody that you love, you don't live in the world you think you do. Everybody that you think is not guilty is about to show you who they really are. I've been screaming for years. So now, if you see me over here trying to live a normal life and tying up loose ends as justice, mind your fucking business. Or don't. We were followed the night that Diddy was arrested. I left a place that I was in, minding my own business, finally trying to stop for a second and get my life back. And you know what? I'm not even upset about that. I'm upset about the fact that I have to walk back into this place and I have to tell you all goodbye. So if you know who I am and you know me as Justice, you know I'm about to walk into this building and tell you I gotta go. Nobody ever thinks about the victims. Nobody. We're not talking about the victims that are still going through the shit right now with other people who are running to cover their ass and deleting their social medias. Pink, Megan Fox, Tyra Banks, Steve Harvey. We got legal evidence to drop. I just don't know what's the point. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party. I was one of the party favors. But I told you, nobody tells on Diddy. Maria Z, I did that interview in 2021. 7 months ago. We made sure, I already knew, that Diddy and Oprah is about to get arrested. I already knew that 7-8 months ago. Because everybody was so busy talking, bouncing to their music. Didn't I tell you? Music is a diary. Are you now figuring that out? They're telling you what they did. The music, it's telling you what they did. The comedy and the art is a reflection of life. I got a reflection of life for you. And if you're trying to come towards me right now thinking that, hey, maybe she'll testify against what?
I don't trust none of y'all.
Testify against who? Testify against the same corrupt justice system that's not doing a damn thing for anybody?
Let's be clear. You federal prosecutors, you have video surveillance from Diddy's house from back from 2008. Look in that 2008-2010 span, you'll find her video there. You want to send it over, she'll say, yeah, that's me. Then you can do what you can do, but otherwise we're not messing with you. I don't trust none of y'all.
My bones will never be the same. My heart will never be the same. My soul will never be the same, but I'm still sitting here. So I'll still continue to try to do what I can do. To be a voice for my friends that are no longer here and for the kids who don't have a voice right now while everybody is too busy running towards the adults. Everybody now, not that black man. No, that can't be true. No, he can't be having satanic rituals. No, There's no way. Yeah, there is. And now you see. So now what you gonna do about it?
Those parties involve children. The media is making it sound like
They
it
don't
was
just involve
adults.
children. They involve animals. The adults who are swearing up and down, I left at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You shouldn't have been there in the first place.
You
You're
shouldn't have been there.
disgusting.
And on top of that, if
And-
you knew that there were children coming in after a certain hour, why the hell didn't you say anything until right now?
Coward.
All these people, I knew he was crazy. So you guilty. I told you everybody guilty. Why? Because why? You covered your ass.
Denzel, you a damn liar. Lecrae, you a damn liar.
Hey, stay one with yourself out here, family.
Just your typical nigga shit. And I'm just tired of the typical nigga shit.
How you stay? Yeah, what keep you focused? Like,
What keep me focused is looking at the community. You know what I'm saying? It's something called the Tyrone Mays Rat Experiment. Y'all need to look that up. It's called the Tyrone's Mays Rat Experiment. It went down in 1940. He ended up getting it from another psychiatrist in 1840. It's called the Tyrone Mays Rat Experiment. And what they did was they took a few hundred rats, right? And they splitted them and they divided them. And what they did was they created an environment for both of these rats to live in. In one subject, they took about 100 rats and they put it in an environment where it had clean water. They put it in an environment where it had a right amount of space for the rats can, get, basically if they wanted to be by themselves, they could. They made sure that it was good food in there that didn't have any type of poisons put inside the foods. They even gave them space to breathe, to go upstairs, downstairs. They just gave them this abundant environment, right? They put these rats in there. Mind you, these are the same rats with the same genetical molecular structure, which is nothing different. They both came from the same mama, the same daddy, the same family tree, right? So they took these rats, they put one in a good environment, then they put the other 100 rats in a bad environment where they didn't get water. If they did get water, the water actually had acids in it. They made sure they didn't give them the regular food. I think they gave them like cat food or something like that with a bunch of pellets that was inside of them, right? They stuck them on top of each other. And they made sure that the space was very, very small. They never cleaned any poop out of the maze. They pissed out of the maze, and they left them in there. They left them in there for 4 months, and they watched how their behavior changed. They went back and they got the actual rats that came from the good environment, and they put them in the maze. They ended up going through the maze very, very fast. Then they ended up going to get the rats that they put in the bad environment and put them in the maze, and they didn't know how to even make it through the first section of the maze. So he like, maybe this is a coincidence. So he did it. So what he did was he switched the rats. He took the rats that was smart, that made it through the maze, that was in the good environment, and he put them in the bad environment. Then he took the rats that was in the bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze at all, and he put them in the good environment. He waited 4 months. Then he took them back out. The same rats that was good and smart, that was in the good environment, that he put in the bad environment, now they couldn't make it through the maze. The same rats that was in the bad environments, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze, he put them in a good environment. Now they making it through the maze and making it through life just fine. So he said, damn, it ain't the genetics. It ain't who these people is as individuals. It's the community. It's the environment that you put these biological entities in that changes the way they interact with their environment and with themselves. Did you know he did another 6-month experiment on the same rats that he left in the bad environment? Guess what they started doing? Killing each other. Some of the male rats started humping other male rats. Homosexuality. Look, the other rats that was at the bottom that didn't have the food, these niggas went upstairs to the other rats and started robbing them for food and water. I said, damn, this sound like your typical project. Don't this sound like the PJs? This is a real rat experiment. So it made me start questioning. I had to sit back and really rub my chin.
into robbing rats?
They turned into robbing homosexual
what else are you gonna do?
rats.
It's a survival mechanism at this point.
Now check this out though, goddess. It was a selective group of female rats, and I really want y'all to look this up when y'all get home today. Watch this. It will fuck your mind up. The female rats, they started pampering themselves. They used to let their children just do what the fuck ever. They started pampering themselves. All they was worried about.
The hood rats. Which one these?
See, these was the hood rats.
Okay,
the
yeah.
hood rats, right? Exactly. So the hood rats. I'm gonna quote that. The hood rats. All they did was pamper themselves. The only thing that they worried about was their fur. They worried about their weight. They didn't worry about their children anymore. They weren't worried about the mama papa rat. The only thing that they focused on was their actual selves. And then the father rat started going to other different parts of the actual rat experiment cage and started like bullying on the younger children. It was crazy, man. Look, it gets so deep when you really start watching it. It even rapists started happening. Rape. With the older male rats in the community started raping the younger males and the younger female rats. Same thing that happens in the ghetto where a young girl will get touched on by their uncle, or a young male will get touched on by their uncle or their auntie. This happens. So it's like, damn, is this rat experiment that's going on in Tyrone, rat maze experiments, the same shit that's going on with us in these communities? And then you have to ask yourself, in the projects. Right. And who built these communities? We didn't build these communities. We ain't put the liquor stores in these communities. We ain't put dope in here. You got something called Russian AK-47s. Niggas ain't never been to Russia. You got Japanese SKs. We ain't never been to Japan. We got grenades that come from, we got all these different things in the community of America that's outside of America when niggas ain't never left the block. How was they getting there? This shit was set up. So once I realized, like, damn, me and my people is in a rat maze. This is a project. We are being psychologically experimented on. That's when I said, okay, this is my motivation. It's time to break the psychological chains of my people.
Yeah.
Yep. So once I fully got myself up out of it, my whole mission is I'm going to die for this shit. Everybody that I come in contact with is going to hear this message. And my message is, wake the fuck up, Black America.